Let's dive right into a really big idea, one that comes from Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's this: your personality is constantly creating your personal reality. And what that really boils down to is if you seriously want to change your life, well, you can't do it as the person you are right now. You literally have to become someone else. So let me ask you this. Ever feel like you're just living the same day over and over and over again? The same thoughts, the same feelings, leading to the exact same results? Well, guess what? That feeling is not just in your head. It turns out there's a super powerful biological reason you're stuck, and we are about to break that down. All right, so that leads us straight to the first major hurdle, what we're calling the personality problem. The issue is that most of us are trying to build this amazing new future, but we're clinging on for dear life to the old personality that built our current life. And as you're about to see, that just doesn't work. This right here is the heart of it all. See, true lasting change isn't just about doing different things, it's about being someone different. You have to be willing to leave that old self behind and actually embody a new one to get a new reality. So the billion-dollar question is, how on earth do you even begin to do that? This question is really the foundation for this entire way of thinking. I mean, we all pretty much accept that our thoughts can make us sick, right? We know that long-term stress, which is driven by our thinking, can create actual diseases. So, doesn't it have to work the other way too? Can our thoughts also make us well? So, the path to getting well really starts with understanding what's keeping us stuck in the first place. And a massive piece of the puzzle is that most of us are quite literally addicted to the chemistry of our own stress. It's this invisible force that keeps our old personality completely locked in place. This is what makes us humans so unique. Think about a deer in the forest. It gets chased by a predator, and if it gets away, what happens? 15 minutes later, it's just back to grazing, totally calm. The stress is over. But us? We have this incredible and kind of problematic ability to turn on that exact same emergency fight or flight system just by thinking, by worrying about something that might happen or replaying something bad that already did. And every time we do that, our body gets this jolt, this rush of energy from stress hormones like adrenaline. And that rush, well, it can feel like a drug. We get addicted to it. We then subconsciously start to use our problems, that job we hate, that difficult relationship, to get our daily chemical fix and remind ourselves of who we think we are. And that right there creates this vicious feedback loop. It starts with a thought, right? That thought produces a chemical feeling. Then that feeling makes you think more thoughts that are just like it. Now, if you do that for 20 years, it's not just a feeling anymore. You start to believe, I am this way. You've basically programmed your mind and body into a specific destiny. So what this whole cycle really means is that if our feelings are the ones driving our thoughts, then we are fundamentally, biologically anchored to our past. Think about it this way. Feelings are basically a record of the past. So if you wake up every morning and the first things that pop into your head are driven by those old, familiar feelings, anxiety, unworthiness, whatever it is, then your mind is already living in yesterday. And if you're thinking in the past, well, you're just going to keep creating more of the same future. And this emotional reaction, it literally hardens over time. Something happens, and for a few hours or days, you're in a mood. But if you keep that same chemical reaction going for weeks or months, it starts to become your temperament. And if you keep it going for years, well, that's when it becomes a core personality trait. That's when you say, this is just who I am. So here's the kicker. Your body, which is essentially the unconscious mind, has no idea that you're just thinking. It thinks it's actually reliving that same stressful event from 10 years ago, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's getting the same old chemical signals over and over, never getting any new information to create any real change. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds a little bleak, right? We're addicted to the emotions of our past. But here is the good news. There is a path forward. It's all about moving out of this reactive survival mode and stepping into a state of conscious creation. And this requires us to totally flip the script on how we think reality works. The old model, the one most of us live by, is cause and effect. We wait for something outside of us, the new job, the money, the relationship, to change how we feel on the inside. But the new model is about causing an effect. It's about learning to change your internal state first to generate those elevated feelings of your future before it's even happened. So how do you actually do this? Well, the formula is about combining two key things. First, you need a really clear, focused intention of what you want. That's the thought part. And you have to marry that with an elevated emotion, something like joy or gratitude. That's the feeling part. You practice feeling the way you would feel if your dream had already come true. Because the emotional signature of gratitude literally means the event has already happened. Now, I know this might sound a little out there, but there's a cool way to think about it. Imagine you're a broadcast tower. Your thoughts are the electrical charge. That's the signal you're sending out. And your feelings, that's the magnetic charge. That's the power that carries the signal out into the universe. When you combine how you think and how you feel, you are broadcasting a very specific electromagnetic signature. You're literally sending out a new signal to attract a new reality.
Okay, I get it. This can all sound pretty abstract. But what if I told you there's incredible, real-world evidence for just how powerful this can be? Let's look at a fascinating study.
So get this. Researchers took a group of men in their 70s and 80s, brought them to a retreat and told them to do one thing: pretend it was 22 years earlier. I mean, everything in their environment was changed to support this. The music, the magazines, even the movies they watched. The results after just 5 days were absolutely staggering. As you can see, their cognition scores shot up by 60%. Their physical mobility improved so much that guys who showed up with canes were outside playing touch football. And this right here is the whole point. This is the key. Those men didn't just think about being younger. They embodied it. They pretended. They acted as if, so completely that the thought actually became the experience. And when that happens, the body, which, remember, doesn't know the difference, gets the biological signal to upgrade. They started living in that new future, right there, in the present moment. So that leaves us with one final, really powerful question to think about. If your body can be reconditioned to a new mind and a new emotion just by changing your state of being, then the only question that really matters is this: who are you going to start pretending to be?